How's it going, Ann Camp? This is Justin Gibney, president of the Ann Campaign, and this is your weekly civic update where we are trying to raise civic literacy among Christians so that as we go out and engage society, we do so in an informed manner. It is very important that as Christians engage in the civic process, that we know what we're talking about. That we're not just listening to a friend or somebody who's not informed, that we know the issues, that we know the process so we can engage in a more effective manner and help more people. And so the AND campaign is serious about that, and that's why we do these civic updates. I'm going to be honest with you, I was hoping that I would not have to talk about this particular subject in the civic updates. I was hoping that it would be over, but apparently I'm going to have to get into it, and that is the federal shutdown. We are in day 27 of the federal government being shut down, which makes this the longest federal shutdown in United States history. I think the second longest was under Bill Clinton in 1995, and that was about 21 days. A lot of you know how this started. President Trump demanded $5.2 billion to build a wall at the border along with other border security measures, and now that the Democrats run the House, they said absolutely not. And so the problem there becomes that in order to fund the government, we needed spending legislation to go through. When President Trump said no, he said if you don't add the border wall funds to the legislation, to the spending legislation, then I won't sign any spending legislation. And here we are, the government is shut down. We have to keep in mind that this government shutdown impacts 800,000 Americans who are federal employees that are not getting paychecks. That's serious stuff. Now, most of these people don't have to work, so they're at home, but the people who are considered essential employees, like the people at TSA at the airport, have to go to work, but they're still not getting paid. And so we're hearing a lot of people calling in sick. There was a gun. Apparently, a passenger got through Atlanta's airport with a gun because I'm sure the morale is just down. I would hope that people continue to do their jobs because it is a matter of security. But we just need this government to get back going and for Congress and the president to do what they need to do to get this thing done because a lot of people are suffering. We see that the IRS is not operating right now. That the immigration courts are backlogged because of this shutdown. Now, one of the things, if we were going to find some type of silver lining, or at least something that's fairly positive, is that people are receiving food stamps. The administration said that people will receive their SNAP benefits through February. So let's pray that this doesn't go past February, but at least till February, we don't have our most vulnerable citizens not being able to eat because of this shutdown. So hopefully they get something done in that time. Something else is that the Trump administration did sign the Employee Fair Treatment Act yesterday. And what this act does is that guarantees that all the people who are being furloughed right now will be paid for the time that they were out. This is a retroactive legislation that makes sure that they do get paid when they get back. We just don't know exactly when that will be. So through all the things that are going on, the Trump administration is still maintaining that this border wall is absolutely essential because there is a humanitarian crisis on the border, and we need this border wall to protect Americans from violence, terrorism, and all kinds of things. A lot of people have different opinions on whether that is necessary, but either way, they're not backing down right now, and something has to be done. The president has even threatened to declare a national emergency. What a national emergency would do would allow him to put up the wall without Congress's approval. That is not something we want to happen. That would be a terrible and irresponsible precedent to set. I do hope that Republicans in the House and the Senate are telling him that that is just a terrible option. We don't want presidents, just because they can't get what they want on an issue that they're very serious about, just to declare a national emergency and do it themselves and not go through the process. We have checks and balances for a reason, and to go that far would be damaging to democracy. And so let's hope that that doesn't happen. Some Republicans have suggested, I know Lindsey Graham suggested to the president that he open up the government for 3 weeks just to open talks back up so maybe that they can come to a compromise. And the president said no. I want this now, and I want to make sure that we get this done. I don't want to do something that's temporary. When I sign a spending bill, I want it to be something serious and to have the money for the funding. So he is not budging at all. And this is starting to worry some Senate Republicans who may be a little bit vulnerable coming up in 2020. They're saying, hey, we need to get some type of spending bill or continuing resolution, which would keep the government open again for a temporary amount of time. We need to get something through because people are suffering. Something else came up this week that frustrated a lot of Democrats is that the federal government actually did call back certain workers. They called back workers who were working for the USDA, that's the Department of Agriculture. They called some of them back to actually help with farmers and ranchers. Some people saying that's purely political because obviously that's a constituency that's important to the president. The folks who are working on offshore drilling, a lot of them were called back. So there's a lot of back and forth going on, but we need to make sure that people are taken care of. Now, a recent poll by the Washington Post and ABC News shows that most Americans are blaming this shutdown on Trump. And it only makes sense because in a meeting with Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, who are the leaders of the Democratic Party in Congress, he basically said that I'm willing to take the blame for this. This can be my shutdown, but I need to get the money for this. So most people are blaming him for that. It looks like, but here's something that's really interesting. The support of the wall within the last year has gone up. So support was at 34%. Support is now at 42%. 87% of Republicans support the wall, whereas 54% of Americans oppose it. But it's kind of crazy that we have this shutdown and the shutdown is so serious, but at the same time, people are actually supporting this even more. What I think would have been a way to get this shutdown over even quicker if our politicians weren't getting paid. If the people in the Senate and the people in Congress weren't in the House of Representatives weren't getting paid, maybe they would have a little more. And some of them do want to get it done. But if the other federal workers aren't getting paid, why is it that our senators and our folks in the House are getting paid? If they had to feel the bite of this, maybe a lot of them who are holding this back, which is not everybody, would be a little more eager to get it done. If you ask me what would be the ideal resolution, I would say the best thing that could happen, it would obviously have to be a compromise because there's a split, right? The Republicans don't run everything, and obviously the Democrats don't run everything either. So you'd have to get a compromise. I think the best compromise you could probably get right now was to give the president the majority of the funding for securing the border, and then do something like attach, DACA to it so that our dreamers, and I've been talking about this for a long time, so that our dreamers don't have to wonder whether they're going to be able to stay in the country or not. We'll see what's happened. We'll see what happens. Hopefully that our government gets it together, but this is a serious issue that we need to get taken care of. Thank you for listening. If you like this, listen to the Church Politics podcast, which is coming back with me and Michael Ware. We're going to be doing every week. It'll probably come out again on Tuesdays. Tune in if you want to learn more and more about civics from a biblical worldview. Check us out. Take care.